strong-arm tactics so loud, only themselves in mind. Every player has dreams of making orca fame. They'll live on in the minds of those who get in their way. Orcas all say, don't come for me. Midler's roots, they're so vain. As we set up the podcast webcam, the pod is here to talk Orca game. Orca King CK with delusions of fame. In this LRG world, he's the apex predator. Danny and Jules in tow, always ready to go. Now it's time for the show. They're the apex predators.
Hello and welcome to the Orca Pod, the apex predators of Australian Survivor LRG podcasting. Here we are covering the 4th episode of Uncharted Waters. It's going to be a wild episode. We've had a swap. We've had a threat of rocks. We've had an advantage. We've had a little shifty move. I can't wait to hear what all the orcas have to say about this episode. And without further ado, let me bring in the orcas. Joining me, of course, I am repping Tortuga. If you haven't figured out the vibe, Liz, I always rep the boot that's coming on. And while Shelley might bleed Nassau pink in her heart when she went out, she was in the Tortuga blue. So am I. Joining me once again, she is the orca from Canberra versus the World, which is so fitting because she was from Canberra and now she's beaming to you live from another part of the world, Papua New Guinea. Let me welcome the orca from that season. Oh, welcome.
Oh, hi. I'm actually not from Canberra. I'm from Queensland. I just live in Canberra.
Well, you were in the Canberra tribe, weren't you?
Yes.
I guess that's why you're a good alternate, because whoever dropped out, they could have just slotted you into either one.
Could be either way, yeah.
Yeah, that was probably the thinking. That's smart, Dan. I like that thinking. Good work. And bringing in Josh isn't with us this week. He's working or something. He's got more important things to do, if you believe that, because what is more important than this? Certainly, Marc has nothing better to do this week because school is out and the teacher is in. Let me welcome the orca of Backyard Survivor 5, Bounty Hunter Marc.
Honorary toast to my king, Greg, who I'm very proud of this week.
Yeah, look, I know we usually like to... I'm changing the format because I think it doesn't work. I'm going to steal more from RHAP like I always do, and we're going to do the end first and circle back around because everyone wants to talk about the end, especially in an episode like this. I knew what was going to happen. Marc, you want to talk about it first? Tell me about all your feelings about the big move at the end of the episode.
I love when, extra votes, I feel like that information, people trade on it liberally, right? Because it's not like giving up an idol that someone has. If the extra vote gets leaked, you can live with it, right? So getting rid of it and getting advantage with it as quickly as possible before it becomes the watered down thing that it tends to become. Perfect timing, perfect execution. And I really love how he not initially telling Mars didn't come back to bite him. No notes. It was perfectly done.
Loz, did you think that the extra vote was getting played, or did you get fooled by the edit?
I thought the edit was perfect because in my mind, you hope it'll come out that way because it's a beautiful move. But the chances that it would actually have played out, that Greg would have been able to hand it over, it's 50-50. my favorite part, and I felt so bad for Shelley when she said it, was there was a clip and she says she's so wary of advantages and she wishes they weren't in the game. And Shelley, me too. I'm so old school. I hate advantages, and the irony that it was an advantage that took you out, just beautiful editing. Loved it.
Every
Hated
tragic
seeing Shelley
hero,
go. Loved the edit.
every tragic hero has a fatal flaw, and unfortunately, Shelley's hatred of advantages was her downfall. I liked the editing, but for maybe a different reason. We had the tension of whether or not Chris, Adam, or Shelley would be willing to flip. And, like where the game's at, I think for self-preservation as well as positioning yourself to make it to endgame, it was on one of those three to flip, right? Not the other way around. There's no value in Mars, KK, or Ash flipping because they're just losing traction with the majority of the game. So it had to be one of the original Nassau's, right? And if we knew about that vote, and if that vote was being dangled in front of them, like, because in these LRGs, people tend to dangle their advantages in people's faces. I'm testament to that. So the fact that dynamic was removed, and you just see like the tension and the emotional weight of whether or not they are willing to cast out their allies to get themselves one round further, it was really good to watch.
Well,
What I liked about it was that it came back to what I said last week, in that once their leader wasn't there anymore, whether they would have the drive and the strategy to play their own game, I doubted that some of them would. And I think that's what happened, because in the end they weren't willing. No one was willing to make that move to flip, and it could now be the downfall for all of them, depending on the
question. If Danny was in that group, do you think Danny would have taken that deal?
I think yeah. I think she would have. Yeah.
I think she would have realized that one of the majority group is not going to throw away their position in the seat of power to join her, so she needs to join them. So,
yeah, I think she would have.
I
think Jules would have as well.
They didn't flip, as you said. They were prepared to go to rocks, which, if it went their way, then they are in a good position. Then potentially all the Nassau's can make it to the merge if the Nassau's on Tortuga look to throw challenges or what have you. Jules is saying she would have flipped on Adam. But is the decision to go to rocks here, advantage aside, which they don't know about, not the right call? If they can make it, it sort of guarantees you a lot of rounds if you get lucky. Are you guys like no on rocks?
No. I'm a no to rocks. Okay. There's so many things out of your control in the game already. Why add another one? If I've got the power to stay one more round for sure, why would I leave it to chance?
From a game player point of view, I've never had to consider rocks. I feel like I know I'm polarizing, so I'm either in the majority or I'm against it. I'm going home that round anyway. So like I can't see anyone going to rocks for me, so I can't see myself going to rocks for anyone. But I don't know if this was the play, because like I don't think Chris or Adam and Shelley were necessarily hinging their games on those two other players. So I don't know if this was the round to go for rocks, because they weren't the people worth defending long term.
Do you think, and I guess we'll never know this until we get them on the show eventually at some point, whether that be next week or at the end of the show, do you think Adam and Chris were thinking about flipping on the revote? Often you get a lot of discussion about rocks and you test the waters with the 3-3, and then you make a call about, am I actually in the line of fire here? I didn't get the votes. Like, everyone wants to say we'll go to rocks when you don't know who the other side is voting for, because it could be you, and in which case, great, they could vote for me, and please go to rocks for me. I'd love that. That would be amazing. So once it's actually Adam and Chris realizing it's a 1 in 4 shot of them going, do they potentially then make the flip? And they might not even know the answer to that, because it might have been something that they couldn't really know until they were in that particular moment. And due to Greg's little move, they never were in it.
I don't think they were prepared for that like realization. I think they were like ready to just keep writing the name down, see if chance takes hold. From what I saw in the edit, I don't think that they were thinking of the next step. They were just thinking, if they won't come to us, we'll take the shot.
What do you think of, Loz, of their decision if you're trying to force a flip to vote for Mars?
I didn't think it was a super strategic decision. Clearly, Mars has leverage. Clearly, he and Ash were quite dominant. If anyone was likely to have an advantage, you'd imagine it's going to be the guy who's confident and running the show and in charge. Ash wasn't going to turn on Mars. Why wouldn't you throw a vote KK's way? And sell that.
I actually think KK is the worst person to vote for if you're trying to force one of them to flip on the revote, because she's probably the least likely to flip on the revote. I think she comes across as the most loyal non-gamer, and probably doesn't see herself going, like, she's heard her back. She's sort of just like, I actually want to talk about her perception a bit in a minute, because I think she's actually a better player than some of the players give her credit for, including myself when I was there in the real time. I'm now seeing these videos. But, you know, she's a loyal. That's part of her core. And I don't think she flips. Whereas Adam knows Ash. Adam knows Ash is like playing nice, but is actually secretly savage. And, you know, Ash is someone who might flip if she sees herself in danger. So I think I'm now agreeing with you, Loz, that they should have voted for Christelle. No.
Yeah, for KK.
Yeah.
I
think you're right. I just don't see. I think KK would keep doing what she was doing. Whereas if it really did come to rocks, if there was no advantage and it was going to be Ash and Mars picking rocks, I think that either or both of them would potentially flip and take out KK, knowing they can probably still progress without her.
Ash has a relationship with Adam, which has been established in this episode. Mars has obviously got value in challenges. You know, he's building rapport in this episode. I agree with you, Loz. I think that's the right call. I think Mars was a very interesting choice for the votes.
To me, it was just a choice that's showing that they weren't thinking strategically, as even to the step of if they actually went to rocks. It felt like a throwaway vote because they didn't know what to do. And they didn't know what to do because Danny wasn't there telling them what to do. That's what it kind of felt like.
I was going to jump in and just say, like, I think if they voted for KK wouldn't understand how that makes her immune. Like, I think she is a better gamer than what she's coming across as. But I think on like a mechanics level, she would have taken that as like an insult rather than as a compliment. Because like going into the rock vote, you want to be the person voted for. If it's established that the groups are going to rocks, you want to take that. That's how Sal won his season. So,
can I talk a bit about the quality work that Ash and Mars, and I'm not sure if Christelle knew about the extra vote. Presumably she did to some extent going into the tribal council. But the work they did, knowing they had this sewed up, like short of an idol or something like that, they've got the numbers here. They're not concerned. But I think they put a lot of work into trying to flip people, into pushing vote outcomes in the strat chat so that there was, I think, no suspicion that this might come up. Because they really put the work in to actually fit people, which I think was great as a gameplay mechanic, but also great for the viewers, because them sitting on their hands would have perhaps tipped the viewers off 100% that Greg had managed to pass on the advantage.
I think they were ready to play. They haven't been a tribal. They've won every challenge, and they've been sitting around camp playing cricket. Like, I think they were just ready to go, and the opportunity presented, and they're both smart enough to know that you have to put some work in every vote, even if it's an easy vote.
Yeah, I thought
Ash
they really
said-
maximized the opportunity here.
Ash says they forgot to tell Christelle about the extra vote because she went to Uncharted Waters. Are you telling me that Christelle didn't know there was an extra vote when you got to tribal? Like, was she thinking it was a 3-3? I would like the update on that. Thank you. Sorry, Mark, continue.
Yeah, like I thought they really maximized the opportunity because it's so easy in a 3-3 to like let slip. You have the numbers and to then make someone fight to be your fourth rather than, no, we'll use the opportunity to make inroads and try and, make someone an ally rather than forcing their hand to become one. Like, yes, Adam and Chris now have to play nice because they're very clearly on the bottom, but it's not like they picked someone to be their fourth. Now they can kind of, whoever survives this group I don't think will be an enemy of Mars and Ash. I think they'll be an unwilling ally.
I just want to finish this little segment unless you guys have more to talk about this incredible play. I heard you talk about the timing of this was excellent. It's like some geniuses sat around and thought about what it would be a good time to put an extra vote in Uncharted Waters. Maybe one round before the swap would be a good time to be providing an extra vote for whomever received it to play a play in a swap scenario.
You're amazing, C.
It's not just me. I was only one of four minds. I don't know if this was my idea or John's or Vince's or JP's, but we will all take credit, and I'm the one here to vocalize that credit. So there was that. But look, Greg really deserves a lot of props here. Greg knew exactly what he was going to do, and I wasn't part of this conversation, but Greg told a producer that he was planning on giving it to Mars, that he was planning on giving it to him after the challenge, and to make sure they had a camera on him for that purpose. And that's the sort of stuff we really love when you're playing these games, because if that doesn't get captured, and we don't have all the cameras they have in Real Survivor, so things get missed. If that doesn't get captured, the whole amazing edit that Mar was able to do here with the storytelling would have been so lost. So if you're ever playing and you're going to do something big, make sure production knows so they can film it.
I love that. That makes me love Greg even more, thinking of the theatrics and the optics of the move. Beautiful gameplay. I love it.
Let's circle back to the beginning of the episode before we swapped. Now we're going back to the old Nassau, the old Tortuga, the Nassau coming back to camp. They've lost Byron, and I can't really remember exactly what happened. Do you guys have some notes about how they were feeling having voted out another member of the Nassau?
I love how Danny didn't waste any time trying to like commiserate her fallen allies. It was purely her. She's like, I hate losing. And the hatred of her own, like, I guess, pride, like just not making about the other people, just about her. I love that for Danny.
And she doesn't want to be bossy or intimidating.
I don't know how that's going. The train left the bottom station. I must say, Danny should know better because this is her second time, and I think you can go into the first time thinking you can play like someone who isn't you. But honestly, all of that shit goes out the window when you're under the pressure cooker of the game, and you really just end up being versions of yourself. Like you get boiled down.
Sorry.
Yeah, well, Danny had played in. Yeah, sorry, Mark.
I was going to say, being a returnee playing with first-time players is really hard because you want to like console people that like, you know what, this vote, it sucks that we're going, but it's not the end of the world. And you want to kind of push through that you're in control just so people fall in line and do what they need to do. But then that can become overbearing really quickly, and you don't mean it to. There's a very fine line if you have game experience with a group that is green.
And I actually think there's a juxtaposition here. And Danny's obviously in control. There's no doubt about that. But some of them are picking up on that already. They're talking about in this swap confessionals, got to keep an eye on Danny. Maybe Danny would be an option at the next vote. Like, she's got a lot of power. And you juxtaposition that with Ash, who has managed to get everyone feeling that they're her number one. They're completely non-threatened by her. The people who can see what she does, Mars wants to, keep his friends close and his enemies closer. The people that can't see what she's doing, like Ash, Evan, they just think that they're all besties with Ash, and she's just there for a chill time. Like, she has it completely under control. And admittedly, it's harder for Danny, who keeps going to tribal council, but still, Ash has been able to just really control the way she presents herself to her entire group, which is a really interesting comparison of the two people that are playing for a second time.
Yeah, I love it. And I'm thrilled they're both on my team because I love the similarities and the variations in their gameplay. And Ash is subtle. She's very, very clever at reading the room, and her subtlety, I think she's reaping the rewards of it now. I think Danny's got that strategic gameplay, but she wears her heart on her sleeve in a way that Ash doesn't do. And it can go either way, but it can easily become a downfall.
Marc, do you have anything else on the Nassau tribe pre-swap?
No, just my only note was, Shelley having that confessional where she outlined her biggest fear was an advantage going awry. I was like, red flags came shining at me with that. So poor Shelley.
We flip over to Tortuga. We get the standard Aaron's on the bottom and doesn't know what to do from Aaron and from everyone else. He really has this severe dislike of Greg because Greg apparently voted for him, which he didn't. I really feel like Aaron needed to get over this Greg issue. He voted for you a couple of rounds ago on a split vote. This is a guy, that could be worth working with. It just seems like for someone who's on the bottom, Aaron is too focused on who he thinks the target should be.
No, Aaron actually said he wanted to get Greg on side.
Oh, did he? I missed it. Sorry, Aaron.
Yeah, he did.
Thanks,
yeah, well, I've got notes that say Aaron wants to get Greg on side. So I'm assuming he said that. Otherwise, I don't know why.
He flip-flopped between two perspectives on it.
I just don't think he knows how to do that.
To achieve it. Yeah.
And when you're stuck in a tribe that doesn't go to tribal, we've talked about how strategy doesn't really get tested and relationships don't get tested. So how do you rebuild relationships when you haven't really put them to the test in the first place? I don't know. I find it really difficult. I can't imagine what that's like to just avoid tribal for 3 or 4 votes.
It comes down to
knowing you're
social.
the bottom, and where do you go with it?
But Loz, they've had time to build social bonds, right? So even though they're not necessarily playing the game, that's his opportunity to make Greg realize, hey, maybe Aaron's not the best person to vote out. Maybe Aaron's a friend of mine that I hadn't considered before. And I feel like Aaron's not allowing that positive interaction to guide that mindset change. He's just kind of letting it ride out.
I just don't think Aaron knows how to go about it. I see kind of the will there without knowing the way. He just kind of seems that he bumbles around a little bit without knowing what he needs to do.
I think some players tend to accept what is happening to them as well, this is the reality. This is what I have to deal with. The game has gone in this direction. I just have to ride it out, without realizing that the game is not as on the rails as you think. Any moment can change the course of the game. You just have to will that moment into existence.
I actually have a lot of appreciation for basically everyone on Tortuga for keeping steady, because I did play 6 rounds in a row without going to tribal council, and all I did was progressively and increasingly strategize and then over strategize and then over strategize to the point that by the time I got to the merge, no one really wanted to work with me because they saw me as completely untrustworthy. I'd already made all these moves in my head where I'd voted these people out and got mentally okay with it. And I think, people could see through that, and it didn't work out. So that's my personality. I'm someone who comes to play, so it's very hard to remain settled. I think the personalities of people like Mieta and Evan are well suited to be in this circumstance, but I give a lot of credit to Ash and Mars, who clearly want to play, but are managing to keep their guns in their holsters and play nice when there's no need to play over the top.
Yeah, if I was Ash, I'd have like this cult murder-suicide plan ready for day 2, ready to go. So amazing that she's like keeping things under wraps.
Josh, who's in the chat, said he loved the tribal outcome. The flashback was amazing. He was fooled, perhaps. Anything?
I've got one more thing from this segment I want to bring attention to.
Absolutely.
Evan came out as a lentil ally to Greg. I thought that was quite a touching moment. Someone else has fallen to the kingdom of Greg. So here we are, just worshipping this man and his dream of lentils.
I don't know if it was more about like Evan's got a background where they eat lentils because his grandma made lentils, and Greg, you like lentils. And I don't know what Evan's
stupid. It is stupid bullshit connection, but like that is what you need in this game. Like the amount of dumb stuff that I pretend to care about when I play with people. This is what you need. That's the lentils guy. You're not going to come for the guy who praises your lentil skills back at camp over someone else.
I agree.
My favorite, separate to lentils, which I didn't even clock the lentils thing. My favorite line of the whole episode came from this segment. And I think it was Ash in a confessional, and she's narrating like she does. And she's like, yeah, Thingo has an extra vote. And she hadn't even bothered to remember Greg's name. He's just that irrelevant ultimately to her big plan that it's just Thingo has an extra vote that we'll use when we want. I just thought it was a magic moment. Beautiful line.
Yeah.
Loved it.
Ash is really delivering in these confessionals. It's where we see the real Ash compared to the fake, friendly, easygoing person she's pulling forward for the group environment. And I think she knows Greg's name, but I think she's honing up to the camera that Thingo, whatever.
Oh yeah, just that's how irrelevant he is ultimately to my game. He doesn't even get the honor of a name.
Except she is going to tell Mars about it, so that because Greg Thingo hasn't told Mars yet. And let's just break up any bromance they're putting on. Mm-hmm. And I know that what you said, Mark, that Greg was able to perhaps, fix the issue that he hadn't told Mars. But do you and he gave it to him. So I guess that's even better. But do you feel like Mars might still remember that he wasn't told and he only received it once it became relevant for gameplay purposes?
Look, no, I don't think so. I think because it came through in the clutch moment, it'll be remembered as like the ultimate alley-oop that got a sports reference. I'm an icon. But it was the ultimate alley-oop that like gave Mars the slam dunk when he needed it, right? You'd rather have that person there for you when you need it than the person just dangling something out there saying they're your friend. But it's a reverse of the Jules and Chris versus Greg and Mars. Greg and Mars is real. Jules and Chris is transient, right? So I think because it came into action and it came into effect, it will not be remembered as Ash was number 1, I was number 2. He gave it to Mars, not to Ash. So for all those reasons combined, I think that's why I think it was so perfect.
Don't let me forget to talk about Christelle, because I think I'll do it when we come back from Uncharted Waters, even though we covered the vote, because I do think she's actually playing a bit of a better game than perhaps everyone gives her credit for. But let's go to the swap. We see a new swap mechanic that we haven't seen, I believe, on any LRGs to date. 2 captains are randomly chosen, and then they get to send someone to the opposite tribe. Loz, tell me what you think about this swap mechanic.
Oh, I loved it. It's so nasty. It just reveals so much more than, a schoolyard pick where you're picking your people, you can always justify why you pick somebody over another, but to outright say no, don't want that person on my tribe. And I mean, maybe there were more confessionals about it. Not too many people talked about it in their confessionals after the fact that someone said they didn't want them. I thought that they would. That would really annoy me. That would piss me off. I'd be like, what do you mean you don't want me on your tribe? Why? You know, especially, I mean, if it's somebody from the other tribe, why? Do you think I'm a threat? Do you not want to work with me? But if it's someone from my tribe, like, come on, what do you? So I thought it was clever.
Yeah, there definitely was like one tribe member who didn't pick someone from their own group, and it was just kind of brushed off. It's like, unpack that. Can I be honest? When it was being explained to me, I felt like for a lot of things this season, the Melbourne Survivor group has just like held up a mirror to the regular rules, and we're like, what if we invert that? And it took like a significant amount of brain power to figure out the implications of this swap, but it was actually pretty simple. So maybe
I had to make a table, and I had to color code it, and I had to write everybody's names and do little arrows to try and get it in my head, because I knew what was happening, but I was struggling to functionally.
It made me feel stupid for a bit, right? Like I felt a bit like unnecessarily dumb until I realized, it's just what it was. Like it was good.
It was confusing in real time. Like, whose pick is it? Liz was confused. I was confused. Like, who just like it was there was a bunch of time sitting around going, now who's picking? And like literally, like it did everyone's head in while we were there too.
Yeah. So
okay, that's good. I
feel like there's like a way to like streamline the explanation and delivery of it in the future. I'd love a graphic, I guess, like, as you said, about the lines about who's going where. Like a real-time graphic would be really cool, but obviously we're still in the dark ages. You know, give us a few more years, we'll get there. But it was a fun twist. I appreciated it more in hindsight than I did in the moment.
Poor Liz says she's always confused. Let's give some props to the costuming department and Liz's epic pirate outfit.
Oh my god, I know.
The puffy shirt. She's got
the white shirt.
The puffy shirt. I love it. What do you guys
think? I've got one note about the swap. I thought that little. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I really wanted to make note about Jules. Who was the captain that wasn't Jules? Who was the other captain?
Ash made a deal. Ash and Jules made a deal.
So I love those micro moments. Like, and this is what I was talking about the game not being as on the rails as you assume. You've got two captains. There's nothing stopping you two from collaborating and talking to each other before your next action. Whatever you do, the game is in real time. It has now happened. So take that moment, talk to someone, make a deal, force an outcome that you want. There are so many little moments in this game that you can use to get yourself ahead. What happens if Mars and Ash don't end up together? The whole episode is different. So Jules forcing that interaction and getting what she wanted, amazing gameplay. Like, hats off to Jules for that. I loved it.
I tell you, it was a shock in the real time when Jules' first pick is she doesn't want Mars. It's like, really? Like, that guy's like obviously one of the most athletic on the other tribe. Obviously, you want to get as many of your own tribe on your tribe, but you know, you think guys like him are going to be at the end because no one wants to send him away. But the deal they put together and obviously worked out for Jules becoming with Danny, the only thing it does do is sort of you declaring who your number one is to the opposition in a way that everyone else didn't have to do because they were not picking their people. They were letting the other people make the pick. Mark?
These are the people that are playing the game. Everyone else is 2 steps behind. So everyone who was playing got what they wanted, and everyone else was just so focused on, oh, I was picked in a reasonably okay number. I feel like I'm loved. Whereas everyone else was like, I got what I fucking wanted. This is great. That's what's separating the cream from the chaff in this season.
I must say, there's a lot of discussion in the chat that Jules was very much considering not giving Ash what she wanted and screwing her over, which would have been a savagely unnecessary move, I feel. Like,
yeah,
cool.
I think if Jules had numbers in the game, you can kind of get away with something like that because she has an idol and maybe she has some extra room, but the position she's in, I think making more enemies now would have been a bad call.
They all go back into their new groups. I don't see anything, and we'll talk a bit about what you predict for the future with these groups. But was there anything in the new meet and greets that you thought had any value worth discussing, or was it your general let's meet and greet once again? Mark.
Look, I mean, not really. I mean, I think the fact that Evan noted that KK didn't pick him, which is a strange, that was a strange move. And I mean, Evan noted it. Mietta picked up straight away that she had thought Jules and Danny were in charge, and she's just keeping that little bit to herself. But overall, yeah, I didn't think it was too astounding.
I thought
Jules said there's a part here where Greg tells them that he's going to vote them out, just straight up. Is that good strategy when you have the numbers to say, well, one of you are gone? I think Greg is probably trying to unify his group, noting that, his alliance is actually the other 3 people on the other tribe, and he's probably trying to make the other 3 who are with him, who, were connected with him loosely, but they weren't him. He wasn't in a core with Evan or Mietta, and certainly not Aaron. That, are they in a scenario where Greg's trying to unify them? Or, who cares if he says that to Danny and Jules? Because, obviously that's the current, anything can happen, but that's the current position. What do you think on that, Loz?
I mean, Greg was talking about throwing challenges. So I find it odd that, he had the foresight to think about passing the advantage on, but is so short-sighted to think that throwing a challenge because he perceives that they've got numbers is somehow a positive. So I'm not standing Greg the same way that Marc is. I'm still on the fence because he seems to have these little moments of brilliance, but then he goes back to doing exactly what I thought he was going to do from the start, which is kind of bumbling his way through. And you don't ever tell anybody that I don't remember actually I don't remember him telling Jules or Danny that they're going to be the first ones to go, but no one does that. That's Survivor 101. You don't tell the people that they're going first, even if they are.
The only reason you do that, like I was doing, was I gaslighted Tash into thinking that she would be going because my plan and made best buddies with Dale because I was going to vote out Dale and I didn't want them to know who to play I was on.
You don't say it when you actually mean it. When you really think that's what's going to happen, you maybe use it as a strategic move. But what's the benefit in ever doing that other than upsetting 2 people?
As Liz says, it's orca behavior, and perhaps he's campaigning for the Brommy this week with that sort of maneuver. Marc, did you have any thoughts on the post-swap tribe?
There's a few levels to this. Let's get into the Greg discussion. I think him talking about throwing the challenge was him overplaying his hand, right? So yes, he's got numbers on this tribe. Yes, he's got numbers in the game, but at this point, he can afford to lose 1 or 2 original members because he's in that position, right? So I think throwing the challenge now would have been a detriment to his game, no matter what the outcome was of the vote. As for telling Danny or Jules that they're strong and it's going to be one of them, I think because the fact that his number 1 and 2 were split from him, he needed to really convince the other 3 that they were the core group. So telling the other 2 that it's one of you, we are solid, I think this is like 1 out of 10 times where that is the play for Greg. Because if he entertains them, it's going to make the other 3 feel a bit antsy about their relationship with him. So I actually didn't hate it for that like niche reason.
But why say it to Jules and Danny? If you're trying to build trust with your former tribe mates, and how you can feel secure just because you have numbers from an old tribe where alliances were never actually tested, I wouldn't feel that secure. You don't know that those people are definitely with you yet because you haven't tested it. But why say it to the two people who are at the bottom? Have those conversations with your people and
what does
say,
Aaron start doing the moment that Aaron thinks that Greg is flipping to Jules and Danny? Aaron burns down the camp, and Jules and Danny will jump on any name. So I think with that dynamic, I don't know. I'm not saying it's correct. I'm just saying I don't think it was as bad as telling two people you're condemned. I think his position, like trying to get the other three blues to feel decent, was fine.
They're also tricky people to play with. Aaron, who's got a grudge against Greg, for which he knows, and Mietta and Evan, who keep their cards very close to their chest about their where their positions are, their feelings, what they're about. Like, you know, Greg probably feels like he has to be the orca in this group and like lead them. And perhaps that was part of what he was thinking there. Try to have some unity.
I think the best play might have been to like put Aaron up as a bit of a sacrifice, buy some favor with Jules and Danny, and then go to Evan and Mietta and be like, we're sacrificing Aaron just to get the 3-2 with us in control. But how did you have that much nuance this quickly when you don't have that much time to establish that?
No, and that's why I think maybe why say anything? What I think all Greg has done is as soon as you step up as the person potentially calling the shots, is you put yourself out on that ledge. Mietta and Evan don't necessarily have any real connection or loyalty to Greg. Mietta was sort of floating on the, you know, the outside of what was happening over at Tortuga. We know Aaron isn't a massive fan. So he hasn't really solidified anything with his former people. He set himself out to go, well, hey, I'll tell you what we need to do with people who maybe don't want to be told what to do. I don't know. I think it was risky.
No, you are swaying me a lot, to be honest. You are making me really agree that I give him like a 6.5 out of 10 rating for how he's handled like this, and that's being generous because there are so many other avenues, especially when he's committed himself to the two that are not in this tribe. So sticking himself as the figurehead of a group who aren't really committed to him was actually probably a pretty poor play, and he could have been a lot more muted. Aaron's probably the one who's sticking out the most by, you know, making comment. Like, he's going to talk to Jules and Danny really openly, and that gives everyone like a common enemy. So he probably should have just taken the gas off, allowed that to explode, and then fallen in line after.
I would just like to say that I think it's a perfect move because Danny and Jules are absolutely the people just to tell to the face that you're going to vote out. They're just going to love that and react really positively and have lovely feelings for Greg. So I think that he's read them well, and they're going to be very receptive to this approach. We're just going to run through the last bits of the episode quickly so we can get Shelley on. The challenge, it was pretty confusing. I don't know what the hell was going on. Yay or nay?
I'm so confused in all the challenges.
Did Adam also say that he was willing to throw the challenge?
Yeah.
No, Greg and Aaron talked about it.
I think Adam did. I think Adam said, like, oh, we could throw the challenge. And I was like, dude, you are not in a position to be throwing any challenges right now. I didn't love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really remember the challenge. What was? Give me the cliff.
They had to follow a rope.
Oh no, you're right. He did. I've highlighted it in yellow with question marks. Adam is okay to throw the next 2 challenges because of the leverage they have.
What leverage, Adam?
I think Adam.
Where is the leverage?
Adam wanted to protect.
Oh my God, Lost, we agree on something.
I think what Adam thought was he was going to be able to pull Ash, and I think there was some segments about that in the pre-challenge where he and Ash were chatting, and he's like, "I know Ash. I know her well. I know what she's capable of. I think we can do a thing. She'll flip on them." And then it comes to Ash going, "Adam knows what I'm capable of. He's got to go."
Such
he knows all about me. He knows all about my moves. Adam has to go. And so I thought that was a good moment.
There are so many cooler things you can do than throw a challenge. Like, there's a time and a place, and I think people are very eager to do it when it's not the time nor the place.
I don't think there is ever any time or place.
Loz, you have 2 idols in your possession. You have the opportunity to vote someone out who is like the worst at your game.
I'll
You
never have
number
2
one
idols
ally
in my
in-
possession. I
Oh,
can't
well, I'm
find
only
them.
speaking from experience.
I forget to look
I-
for them.
I'm fine with throwing. Look, I would have thrown if Annabelle. Let's say for some reason Laurel flipped and voted out Ma or Rosie first. I would have flipped to save Annabelle. I would have thrown a
Yeah.
challenge to save Annabelle. But I have to save it. I'd be saving someone that's like core to my game, like one of my ride or dies.
There's
I'll
no
do it for them, not some rando.
guarantee that it plays out the way you think it'll play out. It's not a guaranteed outcome. You throw the challenge and something else goes wrong on the other tribe. I don't know. I just don't think you can ever be certain.
Believe it or not, I'm actually like agreeing with you. What I'm trying to say is like there is a very fringe niche scenario where throwing a challenge is the right call. I think people are very gun heavy on the like weight that it brings to a final tribal council resume to be like, I made this call, we did this, we took this risk. And I don't think it works out in people's favor as often as it misfires.
Great point from Jules. If Adam had the extra vote, then it makes 100% sense for him to throw the challenge and save Danny and Jules. Like,
But he didn't.
That's a great
And we
example.
knew he didn't.
Yeah, I don't know why Adam. Look, Adam shouldn't be throwing the challenge. I think we're all in agreement with that. Look after yourself, Adam. First, you're not in a secure pace. That's crazy. The challenge is a bit random, but it's like unique, and I give it for that. We go off to Uncharted Waters. I'll say this to someone on the production team. This is probably like the weakest fucking advantage of all time. But you can't have all OP extra votes and shit popping up every round.
I haven't even got a note about it. What was the advantage?
You get to go to Uncharted Waters like at a time of your choosing with the other people without it affecting your doubloon scenario or that you can't go back to back or anything like that. So you could see. Let's say Christelle saw that Mietta and Evan are going, and she wants to make sure she goes so she can go have a chat with them about what's debrief. That's the sort of thinking, I suppose.
So is there like one advantage at Uncharted Waters every round, and it's the first person to find that one advantage, or is it just like go have a look? There might be shit, there might not be.
There's one thing there every round, but I don't think they've specifically been told that. But if they haven't figured that out yet, that's on them. But there is something every round, and it ranges in power.
I feel like if it was told like there is an advantage and it's like a dash and a race to get the one thing, people would be more invested in it. But because it's very
they are told that actually. I think they are told that. I have to get.
I'm not seeing the intensity. But do you know what I mean? Like, if people were told there was one thing out here and you need to be the first to find it, you will get that rush and that race. We're not seeing that. I'm not loving Uncharted Waters, if I'm being honest. Like, it's a bit of like a leisurely walk when it should be a much more intense segment than what it is.
Well, I agree. I think why are you volunteering to go to Uncharted Waters when you get there and you stand around and talk to people for almost the whole time? Like, is that what you're trying to get out of it?
And they're people that don't help your game.
Yeah, and like talking to people in the other tribe. Is it an intel gathering thing? Are you trying to build social relationships? Is that why people are putting their hand up to go? Because to me, it doesn't. Maybe it's the edit. Maybe we're not seeing them running around looking for advantages, but their priorities, for the most part, seem to be chatting, not looking.
Apparently, they weren't told there was an advantage there every time, and apparently, they didn't figure it out. Like someone like Ash has probably figured it out because she knows Greg got the extra vote. She knows Christelle found something. They know Shelley came with the tribe raid. Like everyone saw that. Everyone saw Danny do the thing on the first episode where she gave immunity to Ash. Like if they haven't figured out there's always at least one thing there, they're fucking useless.
But like in these games, right? Like there's so much going through your mind, and if they get there and it's like there is one advantage, go find it. People will race for it, and once the race stops, you can assume someone has it, right? The lack of transparency in what we're looking for and whether or not it's actually still in the game is an issue. I've played games where like you go to the zone but the zone has been cleared 3 rounds ago by someone else. So what the fuck am I looking for? What am I doing here? And I'm getting the same kind of vibe with Uncharted Waters. I think showrunners, like, you don't need to tell the audience that they know what they don't know. But I think that if you hype up your cast and you're like, there is one thing here, first person to find it gets it, go, you're going to see more energy, and we're just not seeing it. I think showrunners,
I agree.
give your players some more breadcrumbs. That's all I'm asking.
I agree. It would appear to be a mistake that we didn't tell them. People were in the chat saying they weren't aware. Danny differently said she never stood and talked and she'd searched. But I think we perhaps should have been clearer. It appears we weren't, and I agree with you. It would have made the area more intense. Before we get Shelley, I just want to say about Christelle. Christelle surprised me here. In Uncharted Waters, she's talking with someone, I'm not sure whom, and saying the plan is to target, I think, Adam or Chris, and then she comes back immediately with Mars and Ash, and she's like, I think we should, I told him Chris, but we should actually do like Adam, and you know, I've got this strategy I've worked out and whatever, and then Ash and Mars like, nah, we're doing Shelley. Like, shut up, Christelle. You're not allowed to have an opinion.
Yeah. I noted. I said, KK is playing strategy. Oh, no, it didn't work out.
But she did have a strategy. Like,
she did. Yeah, she did. It just
completely ignored. But she had a valid strategy.
I think, like, if they listened to her and they gave her this, she would have been locked in. Ash and Mars are complaining that no one else is playing, and then someone's come to you with like an actually pretty solid plan that shows that they are ready to play with you. Let her have that moment. KK is then on board to join your hysteria. I thought just let she's cooking. Let her cook. She's the childcare chef. This was her moment. She was making the rice. Eat her rice. I want KK's rice.
Yeah. I felt like they should have given her a moment here. Also, my favorite thing that KK does is that anytime someone new, like, remotely suggests something strategic to them, she's like, do you want to form an alliance with me? In this, like, incredibly cute voice. It's such a disarming, like, you know.
Drink my poison. Join me.
Like, do you want to form an alliance with me? and like, it's so endearing. Like, and that people just sort of laugh it off or whatever, but it really like breaks the tension, and you know, it does allow someone to go, yeah, of course, yes, let's do something like, but it's anyone else doing that would seem so like it wouldn't come off well, and it just suits her perfectly, and I want to see more of her doing that throughout the whole season. I absolutely adore it when she says it.
Oh, it was very cute. I feel like it's not great for her long-term stocks, though, seeing Mars and Ash not listen to her. Like, in terms of a final tribal council, should she make it that far, how do you vote for someone who didn't get their way? Like, I don't know. But I was really impressed with the growth in her game, and I hope to see more of it.
All right, so we're now going to bring in the boot of this episode. Look, we've had a lot of sad boots this season. We were very sad to lose Nat early. Xavier offered the potential for content. Hannah was incredible. Byron is beautiful, and we were sad to see him go. But I don't think anyone in the community has received as much love and despair as a result of being voted out in this episode. I think everyone wanted to see a lot more of Shelley, and we're all sad that she was voted out in such a way. Without further ado, let me bring out one of the absolute most lovely women of the LRG and org community in Australia. Without further ado, let me bring in Shelley.
Hello.
Hi, Shelley.
Can you hear me?
Really?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Apologies in advance if my internet drops out. I'm having some issues. But
Yes, Shelley lives in Geelong, and anyone that's tried to watch our podcast with or hosted by James Wolfe, the internet does not work in Geelong, as you've learned if you've seen those. All right, now Shelley, I've talked to you a lot. So Marc, Loz, cook Shelley with the questions. What have you got?
Shelley, who was your number one in the game?
I would say it would be split with Danny and Chris. I mean, obviously Danny, it was clear, I didn't know at the time, but it's very clear that she had played before. So she does come across as, a strong player. Chris probably surprised me more. I wanted to vote him out first up, but I kind of, got to know him a bit better, and he's amazing. So yeah, probably those two.
I'm also someone who is slowly warming up to Chris, so I see it. Do you regret not flipping and voting out Adam in the previous round?
No. I suspected that Byron had done the Hannah vote. I thought there was a confessional where I had said that, but it didn't get shown. But I was pretty confident that he was the one that had done that vote. So I just didn't trust him, and so I was fully on board with that. And that then meant that, I could still work with Adam going forward. I felt more comfortable with, potential for sort of, working with him as opposed to with Byron. No offense to Byron on a personal level, but yeah, I just wasn't seeing that relationship there.
Shelley, so going into tribal, and the advantage thing, I hate advantages. I'm awful at them. I don't understand them. So I felt you in that. And then the fact that an advantage took you out was just heartbreakingly ironic. But going into that tribal, the 3-3, did you have an inkling that there was some sort of advantage that was going to come into play, or did you really think it was going to be a 3-3 to rocks?
Just on that first point, I don't mind advantages if I've got them. So it takes them out of the game. So I know that no one else has got them, I guess, and then you've got the power of them. Except for that one advantage that I had, which was to raid the camp. I did not want that at all. And that was interesting, CK, how you said that you were pleased that Hannah did hand it on, because then, it could create content for an episode. But I nearly threw it in the fire, or I should have probably asked if anyone else wanted to go, because I just think it did sort of probably, not help my game by going there, because I got donuts from any of them as far as just, having conversations. They were just sitting around in a circle, and, I rocked up there and they just still sat there and, tried to find the flint. But yeah, it was really awkward, and, and also the fact that, we were potentially, merge was coming up. So what's the point of stealing something from a camp that you're going to, sort of use later on that night? So I didn't like that advantage, CK. That's a bit of feedback for production. Please don't put that in ever again. And what was the second part? About whether I thought about advantages. I didn't at all. The only thing that I did think about was I was pretty certain that the vote was on me, because Crystal had come up to me before tribal and said something like, take care, or all the best, or something like that, like goodbye, basically. And so I kind of knew the votes were on me, and I was okay with that, because Chris and Adam, I was pretty sure they wouldn't flip. So I was almost encouraging it to be on me, which I regret saying now. But the only thing about advantages that sort of came to play was right at the very end. The three of them were talking, and Adam said, let's go and look for idols. And I thought, well, I know that Jules has got an idol and found it at Uncharted Waters, and then there's not going to be any advantages, lying around in these where we were doing the strategy chats. And so I kind of I should have probably pushed the point to say, well, why don't we pretend that we've got an idol, or something like that, like sort of try a different sort of avenue rather than this sort of panic attack of, let's try and find an idol. So, but yeah, so I did think that the votes were on me, and I was sort of almost happy with that.
Because if it went to rocks, then you were in the best position you could be.
Yeah.
Eden has
a
dropped
question.
a nice question. Do you mind if I read
and
it?
Be careful with your answer, Shelley, because your answer may then become canon on the wiki. So make sure you get it right. If there was no extra vote and the others had voted for Chris or Adam, would you have gone to rocks for Chris or Adam?
The answer for Adam is definitely I would have flipped. Sorry, Adam. Chris, I know exactly what he would have done, and he would have done those puppy dog eyes, and I don't know whether I would have been able to flip on him. But most people in the community will know that I do not like rocks. So, but hindsight's a beautiful thing, because now I know I'm out anyway, and so I potentially could, if the same situation happened again, I probably might take a risk.
I honestly think you were like kind of unfairly targeted in this round. Like, I think you demonstrated really good gameplay, and if you weren't in, I just think you had so much potential to make it to merge, and also to like be that number 2 to Danny that doesn't necessarily get targeted. Like, I think that if you had a few more things play your way, you would have made it much deeper into the game. So
Thank you.
Props to your gameplay. Like, I actually really, really enjoyed watching you. And I feel like a lot of the strat chat, when people were being told what to do by Danny, they would come to you for reassurance. And I think that really solidified you as like almost like the rock of the tribe behind the person in charge. So
thank you, Mark. I think it was a tricky situation, and I can see now, which I didn't know at the time, but Christelle and Chris sort of connected with the Filipino background, and then also with Adam and Ash. Like, I knew that they knew one another, and I was concerned that they weren't going to turn on one another at this point. So I sort of was in a bit of a tricky situation, but yeah, I didn't know the Christelle and Chris connection though, but I can see that's probably why, because we sort of talked about voting for Christelle at one stage, and instead of Mars, and I think, Chris is probably, I think he must have sort of pushed us away from that. It was 3 years ago, so it's a little bit fuzzy.
Yeah. Can I jump on one more question if you don't mind? What was your relationship like with Danny, and when did you start to become aware that she might have been more of a threat than a friend?
I mentioned something at Uncharted Waters to Byron, I think it was. I don't think I was thinking of her as a threat. Even, up until I got voted out, I was wanting to get, opportunity to play with her again. I felt quite close to her, that I could talk any sort of, strategy openly to her, and sort of, canvas ideas and that without any judgment or, anything sort of leaking out. So I just recognise her as a strong player, I guess, but not as a threat.
Yeah, I think you were perfectly positioned with Danny, in that I think you actually had probably a stronger position in the game longer term than Danny did. And so I actually don't think Danny was a threat to you. I think you were potentially a threat to Danny.
Agreed.
Had you stayed in the game longer. Because Danny's the one that everyone's pointing at that's going to take the hit.
Yeah.
I see, if this didn't happen how it happened, I see Final 5 for you. Like, you were doing so well.
Oh, thank you. But yeah, I loved it. Obviously, sort of a blind side is what we look for, and it hurts at the time, but it was no hard feelings or anything. It was very well played, and excellent editing as always with Marc.
Shelley, 5 years ago, I played Melbourne Survivor 1, and shortly after, Brendan Pratt hosted a mini that I don't talk about purely because I won 4-3 over Max, but because I met you on this mini and you voted for me to win. And so, of course, I've always had strong feelings positively towards you. The next day we were chatting about all things Survivor, and then you ended up playing other orgs with me in secret. Shelley also plays in the mystery orgs where she is Rachel from Australian Survivor. And ultimately, I was so keen to cast you on this season because I thought you'd bring such an amazing presence after meeting you in that org that I mentioned because we met, not just because I won. But it took me a bit to get you to come and play. You were a little bit nervous. You told us that you were a bit nervous on the, you told the people, the cast, the crew, that you were a bit nervous on the boat ride over. Tell us a bit about, why after so much org experience, you were so unsure of yourself as you made your trip, and if you felt more on solid ground once the game began.
It was funny because I caught a ferry from Geelong across to play, which is quite unique to come by boat. And there, I'm sort of middle-aged mum, and there was a lot of other ladies, sort of my, generation, who were all dressed up and going over to Sorrento to have a nice wine and a lunch and look at the shops. And here I am with my hoodie on, thinking, what the hell am I doing? Who am I? And so this is sort of totally removed from my real life, I guess. And then also the fact that I know, a lot of people know one another and everything, but I'd never met anyone before, like in person. So, it was fine. Everyone's, lovely and what have you. So, yeah.
Has this experience given you the confidence to say yes to a second invite, or are you like one and done? I did it in person. I prefer to play online.
I think, I mean, it's incredible to be able to play. So if you get given an opportunity, to grow it with both hands, because it's a bit of a privilege. I know that, not everyone gets cast, and they're becoming quite popular, and so much work goes into them. So it's, definitely take the opportunity.
Do you have any final words for us, Shelley? You delighted us with your presence on the show. You delighted us with your presence here. I know you're a long-time watcher of the OrcaPod, so good to have you on here. Do you have any final words for the audience that adores you?
No, probably just a shout out to the crew. That's you, CK, as well, being our camp leader. And Annabelle and Maddie P and everyone, and then because there's a lot that goes on. I've helped crew another LRG, so I can understand what's involved and the preparation and everything as well. But and then to the editors, in particular Marc, I have helped in a small way, and so I get an appreciation for what she's put into it. So thank you.
Thank you, Shelley, and thank you for being with us. You have a good one.
Good on you. Thank you.
Bye.
And so I'll just remove Loz and Marc, but they will be back as we are about to get into TWIOLSH. Now, starting TWIOLSH, we've had some guest hosts. We've had Danny. We have had Josh O'Brien, but returning from her trip away to import a partner from the United States, is returning to the TWIOLSH. She doesn't like the way I've been ruling it in her absence, so expect some new band hammers perhaps. But without further ado, let's welcome Jules. She will not be talking about the game. She will only be talking about the TWIOLSH, the game within the game, the only game that matters. Let us welcome back our standard TWIOLSH host, Jules. Welcome.
Hello. Yeah, you've been changing the rules on me. You've been doing all sorts of cheating, so I'm back. I'm back to make sure you're fine.
Zero cheating. I think I should have won last week, actually, if you look back on the recount, because I didn't get any of those boots wrong, and John got some of them wrong, so I don't know how we scored that. So
I'm getting rid of that as a tiebreaker. That was not entertaining content for anyone.
It was, but no one thought we'd get them all. But yeah, it wasn't entertaining, I have to say. Now, joining me in the quiz, this is a lot later than she expected it to be. So I'm not sure if she's ready, though. I understand she's done some research. I'm not really doing any research this year to even the playing field because, when I do the research, I'm just too good. But I believe she's done the research. So let's welcome the early season star. Did she win the Annabelle Award? If she didn't, she should have.
Yes.
I'm going to say the Annabelle Award winner for Sydney Survivor 1, the scourge of butterflies everywhere. Let me welcome Leah.
Hi everyone. Thank
People
you
didn't
so
watch
much
Sydney
for
Survivor.
me.
Leah's afraid of butterflies.
There's nothing wrong with being afraid of butterflies, okay?
You're afraid of some weird flying things, aren't you, Jules? Birds?
Anything that flies, I'm afraid of. So we vibe.
I don't like you guys are in bird butterfly cahoots over here. But Jules, you're here, so now you can explain the rules because I do such a poor job of it, apparently.
You do. So the rules are we have 6 questions. We have one from Warrandyte, one from Playing with Fire, one from Melbourne Mystery Box, could be anything from Melbourne Survivor, one from Canberra versus the World, one from Backyard 4, and one from OneWell. Each question has multiple choice options. If you choose to answer without hearing multiple choice, you will score 2 points. If you hear the multiple choice and get it right, it's only worth 1 point. And according to Jordan Kalish, your opponent can steal even if you take the multiple choice. But if you get it wrong, your opponent can steal for 1 point. It's a wild Leah. Yes, it is a wild Leah. Leah, you get the first. Oh, yeah, phone a friend. You can phone either Marc or Loz for one of your questions. I would recommend keeping them for their own season, but hey, you can do what you want. Which season would you like first?
Warrandyte.
Warrandyte. Okay. So in this episode, Liz channeled Survivor the Amazon by having 2 people doing a joint confessional. Who were these 2 people? I can't hear you, but I think you said you'll take the multiple choice. Multiple choice. Was it Calvin and Tara, CM and Tara, Nick and Vince, or Nick and Jake?
Wait, can you repeat it? Can you repeat it?
Calvin and Tara, CM and Tara, Nick and Vince, or Nick and Jake?
Oh my god, it was oh my god, they have a connection. It was Tara with someone. I remember this because we played an online game and then she's like, oh, I've been banned from this. So it's Tara and Chris?
Correct. That is 1 point because you took the multiple choice.
This is the same org which I keep talking about, the same series where Shelley is Rachel. In that org, CM is Des, the infamous first boot from Australia Survivor 1, and Tara is your good friend, Leah, Christy.
That tracks. All right, CK, since you've changed the rules and said you get to pick your own categories, which one would you like? Do I even need to ask you which one you want?
No. Playing with Fire, baby. But you probably made it super hard, like you like to do.
You want Playing with Fire? Is that your final answer?
Yeah, you probably made it hard. Let's just go.
All right.
Let's go.
It's actually not that hard. I think you'll get it. At the challenge, Kate found a hidden immunity idol in one of the buckets. Someone from Red Fuego also saw it first, but didn't take it. Who was it?
It was Rosie.
Correct. All right, Leah, what would you like next?
The Canberra one.
Canberra versus the World. During the challenge, both tribes struggled with the Tangram puzzle, with multiple people swapping in and out. Who from Currawong finally solved it after 24 minutes?
Oh my god, give me Loz. Loz, come in, my queen.
Oh, I thought you meant that was your answer. I was like, okay, bring it in.
I feel like
it
it was either Bethany or Squin. I think it's Squin. I think Squin solved it.
Okay. I'm trusting you. I'm looking in Squin.
Good instinct. That was Squin. Loz, this was after the swap, so Bethany was now on your tribe. Just FYI.
Oh, was it? All I know is I didn't even get a chance to do it.
Yeah.
We had some very strong people who decided that they knew how to do it. So poor Ed and I just stood at the back and watched.
That's shocking. You had strong people in your tribe. Good job.
Was that Todd? I feel like Todd feels like he would have known how to do that thing.
Everyone was swapping in and out.
Yeah,
Well,
I think
apparently.
everyone else except me and Ed just kind of stood at the back.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, Loz. You killed it.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say Loz was your answer. I was like, she wasn't even on that tribe.
just wanted
CK, what?
I know the phone a friend's new to you, Jules. So Melbourne mystery box, please.
All right, so we're going back to Warrandyte. In this episode, Angela was voted out. How many total votes did Liz read out at Tribal Council?
Well, they tied first, so it was a 3-3 tie between Jake, I think, and Ange. And then it was a 4-0 against Ange. And sometimes Liz just reads all the votes, though, and sometimes she'll do the probes thing and stop at the number that's actually the vote out. So the answer has to be either 9 or 10, and I'm just going to go with 9.
Correct. All right. Leah, would you like Backyard 4 or Backyard 5?
5.
Backyard 5. All right. So this challenge saw players blindfolded and collecting puzzle pieces with a guide. Who tried to trick someone from another tribe by yelling fake commands?
Oh my god, I did not even pay attention to that. That's so funny. Give me the options because that's amazing, whoever it was.
The options are Jacob, Kate, Marc, or Mel.
Okay, well, I feel like Mel was a caller, so I kind of don't think she would be the one doing that. Who else did you say? Marc?
Jacob,
Okay.
Kate, Marc, or Mel.
I reckon Marc. It just seems like something he would do.
It is very Orca, isn't it? It is correct.
Oh, yay! Oh my god, slay.
Okay, so at the moment, you guys are tied. So
Right.
if CK gets this right, he wins. If he gets it
Yes.
wrong and you steal, and if he gets it wrong and you don't steal, it's a tie. If he gets it wrong and you steal, you win.
If I do a multiple choice, I tie.
What?
I'm on 4 and Leah's on 5.
What?
I'm not writing it down. Also,
Leah got the multiple choice for her first question for Warrandyte, so she's on 5. And I have got both right without any multiple choice.
yeah, so you're on 4 at the moment.
Yeah, so if I were to take the multiple choice and get it right, we would go to a...
Oh, okay. Yes, sorry, correct. All right.
Yes.
So, Backyard 4. At the beginning of the episode, the Birak 4 made a fake idol. What did they use to make it?
Oh, fuck's sake. I should know this because Josh was going on about this at the Orca drinks. I think he brought it for some fucking reason. It's some gross thing. I think it's a bar of soap.
That is correct. Well done.
Yeah, that's gross. That was an incredible competition.
I was hoping you would take the multiple choice because my final option of the multiple choice is a fucking stick.
Very
I made
good.
myself laugh with
I don't often take the multiple choice, Jules. I like just to go for
don't.
glory. And thank you so much for Leah coming on, Leah. I know you had to study for this. I don't think you watched all these seasons before. So,
I haven't seen any of them.
So you just watched out of context episodes to compete. I love that. You're the best.
Yeah, so what I
thank
do want to
you.
say though is Backyard 5 was so good that I'm actually going to go and watch Backyard 5.
Would recommend
it's
it.
pretty great. It's pretty
Very
great.
good season.
Marc's here, but I don't mind giving him love. Marc's absolutely fucking elite in it, and go and enjoy all Marc's antics because they're the best. Thank you so much, Leah. Thank you so much, Jules. I will just bring back in my Orca co-host so we can finish off the show. Marc, your season's getting some love there. Now, tell me.
I love Leah. She's an icon. She's
2 questions.
She's a queen.
Leah is great. I also love Leah. Now, tell me.
I also love Leah.
We all love Leah. Leah
all
for
love
a
Leah.
second season.
I wasn't paying attention to the game because I was so enamored by her. Did she win?
No, I won.
Oh well, you know what?
She
still
did
won.
well.
Like
She
that's
did
the
well.
thing. Like I wasn't even paying attention to the game. Like she won that segment. I don't care what you think.
As Eden says,
You did,
in his heart,
darling.
Leah is the winner. Well, in everyone's heart, she's the winner, but in people's minds who followed the rules in the game, I was the winner. So, we all win.
Lost,
Now,
did you follow the rules?
Yes, Jules is back with the band hammer. It was fully aligned now and no nonsense now. Okay, so a couple of things to finish off the show. Who gets the Brommy for this week? We've had Nat, we've had Hannah, we've had Danny. Who is your contender for Brommy this week? Loz, who do you think first?
Tricky one because we didn't get a lot of one-on-one content from people. I feel like I know who Marc's going for. So for me, it's Ash. Her confessionals this episode were absolute fire. And that's it. That's all. That's it. It's Ash.
Marc?
Ash Slade confessionals. I'll give you that. But the Orca criteria is propensity for narcissism. Ash wins that one. But then rubbing people the wrong way, loud and proud gameplay. Greg, baby, told Jules and Danny of all people that they're going home and they're dead in the water. Gave a vote to Mars and changed the outcome of the game from there. Like we all kind of agreed Shelley had Final 5 potential. Greg stopped that. That is Orca behavior.
I don't know. I just feel like
That
a
is-
lot of it was inadvertent. I don't know that it was deliberate.
I
Is it
don't.
Orca
I
if
think.
it's by accident?
I don't. I want to. Okay, if I'm deciding between the two of you, I'm going to also side. Sorry, Loz, with Marc on this one for Greg. I have to go with. Ash has been slaying at the confessionals every episode. We haven't picked her for that reason yet. I'm sure next episode we could just pick her based on whatever she's going to say on the confessionals anyway. And
She
this
will
week,
have
I
her
think
moment.
it is. Yeah, I think this week we have to give it to Greg purely, and I think it is purely for me on telling Danny that she's going and having no fear of the repercussions of such. I enjoy that moment, and I think that gives Greg the win. You tell me, Loz, what is going to happen next week if Tortuga goes to tribal again?
If Tortuga goes to tribal again, if they don't take out Chris, then they are silly, silly people.
Marc, what do you think would happen on the
way bigger
South?
threat than Adam.
I think next episode we're going to get a monologue where Mars gets assigned a film genre because he gave everyone else film genres this week. And I
Mars
feel like
is on Tortuga. Nasau's on
Yeah,
Yeah,
who's in the South? Who's getting voted out in the South?
I just wanted to say that I feel like Mars's film genre is like that random late night SBS movie you watch where you hope that there's like a nude scene coming up, and I feel like Josh and I are really waiting for that Mars SBS late night nude scene.
Oh my god.
There's a movie called this movie Maslin's Beach that used to come on all the time, and it was filmed at the nude beach in Adelaide called Maslin Beach, and that was exactly what you're talking about.
I want to see Mars there. Okay, I actually cannot remember who like the current tribe colors and names, but I feel
It's
like
the one with Danny and Jules.
I want Adam. I think Adam is in danger, and on Danny and
No,
Jules'
the other
side,
tribe. The
No,
other tribe.
Adam's on Tortuga.
The Danny
Hey, I feel
Jules
like
Greg
AA
tribe.
I feel like Aaron is in danger.
Aaron. All right.
Okay.
I think Aaron has his numbers limited.
Thank you, Loz. Thank you, Marc. Next episode, the second to last one for the end of the year before we break for Christmas. Everyone get in and get ready and watch it this Sunday night. We will be back on Wednesday with an interview with whoever is voted out of the game, as well as discussing all of the moves and shakes that occur. Thank you so much, Loz. Thank you so much, Marc, for all your fantastic hot Orca takes. Thank you to Leah for coming on TWIOLSH. She did an amazing job and pushed me to the edge. Thank you so much to Shelley for coming on and being a lovely interview. Thank you to everyone who has watched live. We love having you participate live, and so we can hear what you have to say as we go. But if you are watching later on, please make sure that you like and subscribe on the YouTube page or the Facebook page. Keep our numbers ticking up and make us feel even better about ourselves. Not make us feel good, we just generally feel good about ourselves, but make us feel better about ourselves. We will be back next week, and until then, we shall dance.